Latimer City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
G'day and Swaddy Carp and good health. So today I'm here with Dr. Andy Barraclough, just about, I think, my favourite speaker at the Latimer City Expat Club. And you were giving a talk on
microbes and the human condition.
Yeah, the unending battle against the human battle against the microscopic world, which people make the mistake of thinking we've won the battle.
Indeed so, and that's not the case. Although infectious diseases have reduced and the global burden has reduced, there's still a lot around. And for older people in Southeast Asia, the battle is far from over.
And one of the telling points you made is that you don't necessarily want to trust your doctor.
I wouldn't say that. You should always trust your clinician. But you need to consult with them and you need to get personal information from them. So
do you think, because this is a big problem, I mean, what they call iotropogenic or iotropic causes, like we caused it, misdiagnosis, side effects of medication, botched operations. It's a big issue.
It's a big issue. It's a complex one. Many healthcare centres are overloaded and the clinicians are trying to work in that environment. It's not ideal, but you have to recognise it and help them along. Give them clear information. Give them clear knowledge that they want from you of your condition and your health background. Then they're more likely to reach the correct conclusion.
Yes, I had a case of this in my own life. For instance, I went in, I had a subacute appendicitis and I went for appendectomy and then I was just tired all the time. My mother sent me to the doctor. The doctor said, oh, this is psychological. And my mother wasn't happy with that, so she went in with me. And so they had blood tests done. Turns out it was glandular fever, which I would have picked up during the operation in his hospital.
It can certainly happen, but medicine's advanced a long time since you were a child. Much better diagnostics are available now. That's much less likely to happen.
So how important do you think it is? Like, one of the things that came up at the end is people who haven't had, vaccines, they haven't monitored their vaccines, etc. This is a really important subject.
I think you've got to go back to you are in charge of your health. You can't expect the government or a hospital to be in charge of your health. You are responsible for your health. Take responsibility and then take knowledge of what vaccinations you've got and go and seek advice on what's the best solution for you. It's not one size fits all. People are very different. But go and get advice from a clinician for your particular circumstances, what's appropriate and what's recommended.
Yeah, like for instance, apart from me, there's not really any young people in the club, and one of the things you emphasised was that older people can be more vulnerable to certain sorts of things.
Indeed, many diseases, as we get older, the immune system tends to reduce, especially if we don't look after ourselves very well. So it's particularly important to protect ourselves from disease, and vaccination is one way to do that. But it's not the only way. Maintaining good health is a state of mind as well as the physical condition.
Yes, because mental health is really one of the big problems worldwide. But one of the things that interested me is that as you age, your skin starts to get thinner, and this is a health vulnerability in itself.
Indeed, skin becomes more fragile, we should correctly say, and that means that we get lots of small cuts and bruises and knocks, which every cut is an open door to infection. It's just a case of being a little bit careful and not ignoring small cuts and small skin damages.
Also, we're more tasty to mosquitoes.
Well, because the blood is nearer to the surface, it tends to attract the mosquitoes, particularly around those areas, ankles, elbows, where they like to feed. And the new generation of mosquitoes particularly like those areas.
So there you go. You might not be as attractive to the opposite sex, but you're more attractive to mosquitoes as you get older, and that means you're more vulnerable to picking up mosquito-borne diseases, which is one of the things you've specialised in over the years.
Indeed, neglected tropical diseases has been my field for a long time, but vector control is an important part. The problem is older people tend to ignore mosquito bites rather than just being aware of the potential danger.
So there's a go. You should be more aware of mosquito bites as you get older. Also, one of the other things you need to be very aware of that you drew to our attention is fake medicines.
Fake medicines estimated at around 10%. Of course, you can walk out into the street and there's lots of fake Viagra on sale, but fake medicines are also now big business. It's organised crime. And they can find their way into quite normal supply chains, into government supply chains, into private hospital supply chains, if adequate care is not taken. There are good mechanisms to weed them out. It's a case of being aware of those mechanisms and following them to prevent fake medicines entering the supply chain.
One of the things you emphasised is that government has a very important role to play in stockpiling of medications and education of doctors.
I think this idea of antimicrobial stewardship, where they take charge of the medicine for the country, is long overdue. We've been promoting it for a long time. Now COVID has really brought it to the fore. We have to take charge. We have to look at stockpiles. We have to look at how we're going to manage the overall national medicine situation.
And the other thing that you emphasise and you've been involved with is getting Big Pharma to make medications that for things that don't seem sexy, because there's a cynical saying about Big Pharma: a customer cured is a customer lost, right? You really want to just manage symptoms. So this has been one of the dramatic ones you highlighted was the medication for TB.
Well, I think certainly, prior to 2010 we'd had no new TB medicine for 40 years. That's now changed because of philanthropic Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's investments in that area. But that's also catalysed. Shouldn't be too hard on the pharmaceutical companies. Many have now got foundations and social responsibilities that are helping to produce medicines for the world. They'll do it if they're asked. They'll do it if they are aware of it. So part of it is building awareness of the need.
Well, very well said, because we think, it's modern society and there's transport and all this, everybody has access, but it's very, very not true.
2 million people in the world, a third of the world, don't have access to basic essential medicines. It's a situation we have to change.
2 billion. So count your blessings, count your good health, do what you can to work on your own good health, and I certainly hope that Dr. Andy's health is going to stay really good and I can squeeze one more talk out of him before he totally retires. Is there any last message you'd like to give to the people out there?
Be in charge of your health. Take charge of your own health. It's your body, you are responsible. That's the message.
And on that note, I'm wishing you good health and good self-management of your health. Goodbye and swaddy carb.